Well, as we all know, the Rotary Club of Knoxville is more than just a club. This is also a family. It's been a family for almost 110 years. And with that come a lot of generations of membership. And a lot of those generations come with those that have been very active, and they've continued to be active with family members. Sadly, this week we lost Frank Addicks. Many of you all know Frank. He joined the club in 1977. Frank was the past president of this club in 1994 to 1995. Frank was a pillar of our community and truly a pillar and foundational force behind the success of this club. Frank's son, Whit Addicks, has continued that family commitment and that family involvement, as Whit is currently our board treasurer and has agreed to serve again this year. The Addicks family has meant a lot to everybody in here. I wanted to also let this club know that tonight the services are for Frank. They will be at 4 o'clock at Sequoia Hills Presbyterian Church. Following that, at Sequoia Hills, there will be a Cherokee Country Club in the River Room at about 5:30. There will be the Receiving of Friends directly after the service. Again, the service is at Sequoia Hills, and then there will be a celebration with family and friends at Cherokee Country Club. A little bit about Frank. He founded Addicks CPA Group, one of the area's premier professional services providers, and helped many of you all in here personally. That firm has also been somebody I've worked with too. So it's really great to see what Rotary does. I would say Frank embodied a true Rotarian, and he's continued that legacy through Whit. So with that being said, I'd like for this club to take a moment of silence and the remembrance of Frank Addicks. All right, our thoughts and prayers are with Frank, Whit, and their whole family. And if you're able to make it tonight to show support, I know they'll deeply appreciate it. I'll also say thank you to Towns. I believe you provided the writing, the messaging, acknowledging Frank's passing, and just another good example of longtime friendships in this club. So thank you. So shifting gears, and I think Frank would like this gear we're shifting into, and this is on the history of our club. So one of the things that I wanted to focus on as president is celebrating the history of the Rotary Club of Knoxville. As you know, this is our 109th year. We're leading up to the 110th year when Shannon is president next year. We are looked at as not only a historic club, but a force in the club and in the district and really Rotary International. But I thought it would be interesting each week. I'm going to try to focus on a couple of presidents. So this week, we're going to talk about the first 2 founding fathers of Rotary. Now, I can say founding fathers because there are going to be a few founding mothers in there too that we get to, that we're very proud of the female leadership that we have also had. Now, you might wonder where I got a lot of this information from. I have to give a plug for the Rotary Club of Knoxville's history book that was created in our 100th year by Steve Cottom, a former member of our club who directed the McClung Center, really a wonderful community advocate for history and for the Rotary Club of Knoxville. So in the history book, if you're interested, which Allison can arrange a transaction for you to purchase, and I would highly recommend it, you're going to get to read about every single president. So we start with David Carpenter Chapman. David Chapman was the first president, obviously, of our club. Born on August 9th, 1876, he lived until July 26, 1944. Another interesting thing about Chapman is he was a wholesale druggist. He was a soldier, and he was a civic leader. He was an old school, what they would call mover and shaker, and one of the important influences of Knoxville. He also helped lead the Great Smoky Mountains National Park effort, which was when Franklin Delano Roosevelt came to attend and commemorate here in Knoxville. Chapman was there. He was one of the people that created the parks that many of us attend and get to visit. I thought it was interesting. He attended the University of Tennessee. He fought in the Spanish-American War, and he was the son of, he was a captain of the National Guard, the son of John Ellis Chapman. And when his father died, shows his leadership. Our Chapman, became president of the company. It was Chapman White Lyons Company. Chapman White Lyons Company. Chapman became president at the age of 24 when his father died in 1900. He was the director of City National Bank, the Knoxville Sentinel, and the previous names of it, St. John's Episcopal Cathedral. He was obviously a chair of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And in 1931, they named Mount Chapman after him. Prior to that, in 1929, many of you all just drove down Chapman Highway, and that is when they commemorated and named Chapman Highway after Howard David Chapman. So really interesting man. I also like the druggist part because that has to be some type of involvement with the Albers family. We'll learn of at some point, and early president of Albers Drug Company. But that's David Carpenter Chapman. I highly recommend reading more about him in the book because I just did a very quick summary of it. Up next, we have Iverson Graves. Iverson was our second president, 1916 to 1917. He was also a district governor in 1919 to 1920. So 104 years later, you're seeing the new district governor right here. Georgia born, he was from Covington, Georgia. He was working with Southern Railway, came to Knoxville in 1911. So just a few years later, he was one of the charter members. He was with Chapman, obviously, at the founding of our club. He also chaired the International Association of Rotary Clubs. Iverson was the first, and it's only the second president, so pretty early we had this, but he was considered the club's founding father of the international efforts and the impact that this club has had. He later moved to Lynchburg, Virginia. He got involved there and died in 1942. So those are two of our founding fathers of the club, and I hope you enjoyed that little history tidbit. They might not be this long every week, but I give you your feedback later. You don't have to do it right now for everybody, but if you enjoy these, if you don't enjoy them, I won't take offense to it. But I think it's important that we celebrate our history and where we came from, and it will be really fun when we get to some of these other presidents and we get to commemorate their life up here too. So thank you for entertaining me for those moments.